In the last episode, we ended off talking to Gwyneth and becoming the keeper of the Vigilance of Stendarr. After we complete the quest, The Landing, when you enter the temple you should automatically start a new quest called Empty Cells. If the quest doesn't start, try entering and exiting the temple again. The first objective will tell us to talk to the Windhelm guard. He is located outside the temple in front of the bounty board.
You seem to be a Vigilant of Stendarr, but are you the only one here?
There are two of us, but tell me, what brings you here?
I am here on the behalf of the Steward of Windhelm to ask the Vigilance of Stendarr for help.
Alright, what is it about?
Prisoners in Windhelm keep disappearing from their cells. We want you to investigate this case for us.
Make sure to select, why do you need our help?
You will have to speak with the Steward if you want to know the details. Please treat this matter as confidential.
The quest will now update, telling us to talk to the Steward in Windhelm about the matter.
Don't worry about the temple. I'll guard it in your absence. Please, go to the Steward as soon as you can.
When we enter the Palace of Kings, there should be an NPC named Steward. Let's speak to him. I am Ace, a Vigilant of Stendarr.
Welcome here. I've been waiting for you. I heard about the attack on the temple. You have my sympathies, friend. I'm sorry, but I'm spread thin. I could use the help.
What are the details of the situation?
Good. You got real fire in you. This is what's happened. I think we may have a problem in the dungeon. Lots of prisoners just disappear. Can't find a trace of them. Only the trail of blood. And as if that wasn't enough, yesterday, my guards disappeared as well. Nobody saw anything useful. That's why I'm sending you.
I'll take care of it.
That's what I wanted to hear. I noticed the trail of blood in the underground dungeon. We should get started now.
The quest will now update, and you will receive a key to the Windhelm dungeon. Now, follow me to find this dungeon. Now, basically all of Act 2 takes place in this dungeon. However, we will come back up to talk to the Steward one more time, so be prepared for anything down here. You won't be trapped in the dungeon, so if you forgot something and need to go grab it, then go right ahead. When we head on inside and walk down the stairs, to our right is an old well. This isn't the route we're supposed to take to advance the quest, so we'll explore this area later when the time comes. This place has an ominous feel to it. There's blood on the floor, all of the cells are empty, and it's just creepy overall. It's also pretty dark in here, so let's use our old Histus flask to lighten everything up. We can see all of the cells are empty like the guard mentioned to us. In this big cell, however, we will be able to find a statue. When we walk up close enough to it, the quest will update, telling us to speak to the Steward once more. So let's head on back and speak to him.
Yes?
Can you tell me anything about the Maiden statue?
It's ancient. I've never seen anything like it. I don't know anything about those kinds of things. Sorry, can't help you.
Has anything similar happened here before?
Now that I think on it, it was years ago. Lots of prisoners gone as well. I don't know really, considering how the Great War ended. Commander of the guards here in Windhelm was in control. Now I remember. Your kind were happy to lend a hand as well.
Are there any documents of this incident left?
Not now. At least not anymore. It might be over in the temple of yours.
The quest will update again, telling us to head back to the Temple of Stendarr and find the report over the incident a couple years ago.
Torrig was merely a message to...
Once you arrive, head downstairs to the library. You can speak to Gwyneth about the book, even though there's a quest marker pointing to the bookcase you need to search. Do you have any reports about the Windhelm incident from around 20 years ago?
20 years ago was 180. If there's anything, it should be on the shelves in the middle.
The book we're looking for should be right here. Pick it up and read it. As soon as you read it, you will get a note from Jacob and a key titled Vampire's Blood. I'll go over the incident and Act 2 story in more detail in the Act 2 lore video. Here's a summary of what happened. The person writing the book, who is presumed to be the keeper at the time, or maybe even Gwyneth, had a similar incident happen a couple years ago. He sent a team to Windhelm and they found vampires in the Windhelm dungeon. A vampire they interrogated told them to open the statue they have to have vampire's blood. After this, however, the Maiden statue sealed shut and wouldn't react to the blood. Master Jacob was found outside the city walls, stating that his whole team was killed in a tunnel collapse. We now must head back to Windhelm and speak to the Steward again. The previous incident was the work of vampires. This may be one as well.
By the gods, you're serious. These vampires are becoming a real menace. This doesn't look good. I'll leave that to you. I trust you know your business.
He'll basically throw us back in the dungeon and make us clear the pest problem. Let's head back to the Maiden statue. When we arrive to it, we should activate it, and it should open up and send you to a hidden passage. Now, before we start this dungeon, I just wanted to let you guys know that the Horn of Stendarr may actually be able to help you out here. If you use the horn periodically during the dungeon, you will get quest markers to help guide you. If you want to use this to help guide yourself through the dungeon, and you want to click off this video right now, I won't be offended. This is a really cool and helpful feature added by the mod, and I'm just here to do my best to help you guys out. However, when you use the horn here inside the Windhelm dungeon, it will tell you to go down the old well. However, that is not correct. You must go through the dungeon regularly first, and I hope the mod author will fix this soon. As you see here, we're in this area. There's a witch hunter, which we will go over later, but you try to open the cage door behind us, and it's locked. We don't have the key for it. It tells us to follow the blood over there, but we can't get over there unless we do the regular dungeon, so... The quest marker will lead you to the Asylum, and after you get to this quest marker and advance the quest, you will automatically get another quest marker, as shown here, even though you completed Follow the Old Blood. This objective will guide us to the Matron's chamber, and once you get here, this will be it for the Horn of Stendarr. It won't help you out for the rest of the quest. When you load in, head down the stairs. To our right here is a door labeled downwards. This door will be unlocked later. Now you're going to follow me through this maze sort of thing. I'll speed it up here, but not by much so you guys can follow along. The enemies in here are primarily skeevers, but that's until we get to a certain point. Once we reach this door here, it should lead us out to a sewer-like area. We will come face to face with the first vampire we will take out in the underground. These guys can be dangerous since they can go from a regular NPC to a vampire lord when they take enough damage. Most of them you encounter will either be in the form already or will have to change it to the form when you fight them. There are a few of them here, and when they're in groups, they can do good amounts of damage to the Dragon Lord. Now, keep following me so we can continue on the quest. When you loot the vampires, you can notice that they have the armor Stormcloaks or guards from Windhelm wear. This tells us that most of these vampires actually used to be the guards that went missing. As you can see here, there's a chest, and there's also some other loot trickled around here. So be sure to look on your own, as most of the items are just randomized, and it's mostly gold. Now, once we reach these steps that go a long while down, we'll come across an orc. Once we walk up to him, he will become hostile, and a quest called Loose Ends will start. This quest will interlap with the quest Empty Cells, so if you follow the guide, you will get these quests done together. The orc we're fighting here likes to go invisible, and like I mentioned earlier, when you do enough damage to him, he will turn into a vampire lord. Also, be aware as he does a lot of damage in either form. Once you defeat him, you'll receive a key immediately after his death, and the quest will update. However, if we look at the quest log, it won't give us a new objective. Now, when we loot the orc, you can see that he has Vigilant Stendarr gear on him, which also shows that the team sent here 2 years ago may have been turned into vampires as well. We can also find a unique weapon called the Rusty Greatmace. It doesn't have an enchantment, but Vigilant adds a whole rusty set, and we'll be able to acquire most of it in this act. Once you complete the act, you'll be able to craft the rusty items at the Anvil of Zenithar back at the Temple of Stendarr. Now that we have looted him, we can use the key we got to activate the door called Upwards. This will lead us back to where we started, and the Downwards door will now be unlocked. The key will also activate the Bloody Well right here. Make sure you save before you enter. You will immediately be greeted by this NPC.
Gwaji, have you finally come to your senses? Aredhel has calmed down now. We can go back.
Are you alright?
You're not Gwaji. Who are you? Where's Gwaji? What did you do to him?
After the conversation ends, the quest will update telling us to defeat this NPC. As you see, he will attempt to run away from you. Following him will actually lead you into a trap, as other vampires will become hostile and attack you. This part will be tricky, as like I said earlier, these vampires are lethal when they're in a group. Paulo will keep attempting to run away from you, so I'd suggest getting rid of the other vampires first before you try to take him out. I'm going to speed this up here, as it's pretty much just me slashing through the vampires. Feel free to skip to the timestamp in the lower left. As for Paulo, there's nothing really special about him. Killing him will just advance the quest. He also has the power to turn into a vampire lord, as you can see here. Once you land a finishing blow, you will get a key again, and the quest will update without giving you a new objective. Don't worry, I'll guide you on where to go next. When we loot Paulo, you'll notice he also has Vigilant gear on him. This further proves that the old team are all vampires now. Who's the person changing him into vampires? Well, we'll figure that out later. Before we advance on the quest, we can grab some extra loot from a couple chests. One is located here under the water. The other chest is located all the way over here. The loot is pretty basic, so you won't get anything unique out of the chests other than a few treasures. Now, to continue on the quest, behind the ladder we came down from is a door to the old Windhelm Slums. Enter here with the key you obtained from killing Paulo. Here we are going to have a pretty direct path on where to go, so make sure to follow me. I'll speed up the video just a little, while also showing you guys a few chests you can loot from. The enemies you will primarily find here will be feral vampire lords, and you will encounter a vampire lich here soon. Here's the first chest I can showcase to you guys. Now, I don't know if you guys will have this bug, but if you do, this area over here should not be open. Follow me instead. If you guys want, make sure to look around. First of all, the place is beautifully built. Second of all, you will be able to find random potions lying around. Also, I may have missed an available chest to loot from, after all I am human. Hey guys, I hope you're having a great day, and I hope your first month of 2021 went well. After all that happened last year, it's not hard to say that this January was definitely better than last year's. We're approaching the end of the old Windhelm Slums, and at the end is a pretty big vampire we have to take down. Yeah, he's big alright. I really don't have any tips to defeat him. He's pretty much a bigger version of one of the regular vampire lords, but he classifies as a brute. His main way of dealing damage is clawing you to death. He also has more health than a regular vampire. Once you land your finishing blow, you will receive a key to the next area. You will also gain karma. The big brute doesn't have anything special to loot off of him. Now, to the right of the door is a locked boss chest. Now, the key we got will allow us to enter the old Windhelm city, so let's go ahead and do so. This place is almost the same deal as the Slums, however there are a few areas we can go to get some unique loot. Be sure to follow me if you're lost at any point. You will still come across feral vampires, however you will be introduced to the Vampire Lich here soon. Here's a chest you guys can loot. Hidden behind this broken stall is another chest to loot. Up here we're going to come across a regular vampire brute. Like I said earlier, their main way of attacking is to pummel you to death. Over to our right we have a locked door. Once we defeat the boss of this area, we will be able to obtain the key and come back here. Let's go the original route now. Here we will come across 2 doors. The one behind us, here as shown, will lead us back to the start of the old Windhelm city, however it's locked. We will obtain the key when we defeat the boss of this area. The door shown here will keep us on the route we need to go. A lich will attack us after entering through the door. The lich uses these dangerous spells that can do good amounts of damage to us, so be on your guard when fighting them. As you just saw, they also have a chance to completely evade your attack and teleport somewhere else. Looting the lich won't give you anything unique, just some minor loot. Up here, we have a locked chest. Coming up around this corner, we have our mini-boss of the area, the Nightmare of Illinalta. No tips, other than that it's a beefier version of the Vampire Brew mini-boss we fought in the Slums. Expect the fight to be pretty tough. Once you land the final blow, you will immediately gain a key, along with some karma. For some reason, there's a smithery area up here. We also have a book that's displayable in the Legacy of the Dragonborn Museum. Back here, we also have a boss chest that we can loot from. Let's go back and loot the Nightmare. The only unique item off of him is an ancient Fisherman amulet. The amulet gives you a 50% resistance to all diseases. It may count as a unique item to most people, but this doesn't have a display in the Vigilant room of the Dragonborn Museum. Now with the key we obtained from the mini-boss, we can open up a couple doors. One is the big gate he was guarding. This will lead to our next objective. We can't open this big gate, however. Follow me to find the other door we can open. I mentioned this door earlier, as this one will lead back to the start of the city. Now let's head back through the door we just unlocked to find the last door we can open with this key. This area will lead us to another dead witch hunter. It will also have a few dead vampires and an exit point. This witch hunter was named Clog. He has the same gear as the other one did in Act 1. Before we talk about the exit point, let me point out that there is a chest over here we can loot, and a book that's displayable in the Dragonborn Museum. The exit point says we need a key, but we already have it. The key that the Steward gave us will open up the statue to the old well. We can find a hidden chest down here, and another exit point, which will actually take us back to the start of the Windhelm dungeon. Let's head back to the big gate we just opened up. Walk up the ramp and the door will lead us to the Asylum. The Asylum will be flooding with vampires, ferals, brutes, and liches. The liches will be the most dangerous if not taken out quickly, so be cautious. The Asylum can be a confusing place as there is no quest marker to show you where to go if you didn't use the Horn of Stendarr. I'd suggest leaving these vampires in their cells, as you don't have to kill all of them to complete the empty cells quest like it says you do. Instead of wandering around here and potentially confusing you guys, I'm going to show you where to go to advance the quest and where to exit. Up these stairs and to our left will be a hallway leading to a bright area. A vampire will be in a cell straight ahead. We must speak to him. Here's a tip. Ignoring liches that you have already made hostile towards you will have a chance to cast this spell that could potentially kill you if not prepared to dodge.
This is a bad time for you to be here. Jericho can return at any moment.
After this line, you will be attacked by a few vampires and a vampire named Jericho. We must defeat them before we can speak to Thingol again. Now this is a really tough fight, so I did have to activate God mode. Sorry about that. When doing enough damage to Jericho in human form, he will turn into a vampire lord like the other named vampires have. Once you have defeated all the vampires and landed a finishing blow on Jericho, you will get a key from him and a quest will update telling us to talk to Thingol again. Together we're going to loot Jericho. Again, he has vigilant gear on him along with a rusty warhammer. The warhammer, as mentioned earlier with the rusty Greatmace, is part of the non-enchanted rusty set added by the mod. Nothing else really to say about it other than it looks really cool. Now let's go ahead and advance this quest and speak to Thingol. What happened here? I'm going to go over the story in the Act 2 lore video and this guy's dialogue, so stay tuned for that. For now, I'll tell you what option to select to keep advancing the quest. You will want to select, is there anything I can do? Thingol would like for us to take him out of his misery. No matter what option we say here, we'll have to accept his requests and kill him to advance the quest. So say that you will.
Thank you. Do it quickly. I don't know how much longer I can resist the thirst.
Use the jail cell key we got from Jericho to open the cell and kill him. Doing so will advance the quest and not give us another objective. Let's loot Thingol before we head out to our next area. Like I said, watch out for this attack the liches will try to pull on you. Follow me for now to get to the next area. On our way there, we can find an alchemy table with some free potions to take. Right here, we will find stairs that lead up to a place titled the Palace of the Temptress. We can use the key we got from Jericho to open this place up. When we head on inside and go a little deeper, we will come across more vampires to take out. A boss chest can be located right here. The door I look at over to our right is currently locked. We will be able to unlock it later as it's just a returning point, as shown here. Make sure you're prepared to fight all of these vampires at once. As you can see here, I wasn't. Once you take out all of the vampires, we can exit through these big double doors here. This will allow us to activate a lever and open the gate we couldn't have opened earlier. As you can see here, we're back to the old Windhelm city where we took down the Nightmare of Illinalta. Let's head back into the palace. To our left will be a door. Follow me and head on through it. Through this door will be an empty dining room. Nothing of use is here other than many empty plates, goblets, and some candlesticks. Head on through these two doors and we will be greeted by an NPC.
It's too late.
After Aredhel finishes ranting to you about his dead friends like he's Lil Uzi Vert, he will become hostile and attack you. He might be one of the toughest fights yet. He dual wields 2 rusty swords, and he swings at you really quick. He has a chance to go invisible and evade your attacks for a little bit. Once you land a finishing blow, you will receive a key and the quest titled Loose Ends will be completed. This doesn't conclude the act, however, we still have a little bit to go. When we loot Aredhel's body, we can find a note written by him, which I will read fully in the Act 2 lore video, some Vigilant gear, and the 2 rusty swords he was using against us. Like I mentioned earlier with the rusty Greatmace and rusty Warhammer, these items are part of, you guessed it, the rusty weapon and armor set added by Vigilant. However, all of the rusty items do not have a display in the Dragonborn Museum. In front of this Molag Bal statue, we can find a book that's displayable in the Dragonborn Museum. You can actually activate the relief of Maiden statue, but however, to my knowledge, it doesn't do anything. If you guys find a use for it, please let me know down in the comments below. When we enter through this door, we will find a lever to our left. When we enter the room with Aredhel, a gate closed behind us. Activating this lever will open that gate. To our left is the door we need to go into, but heading straight across here will allow us to open that locked door I mentioned a little bit ago. We can find the boss chest and some gold ingots back here. I'm pretty positive the loot is actually symbolism that this mod has to offer, but I will go over that in a later lore video. Here's the door that we can open with Aredhel's key. All it does is lead us back to the start of the Palace of the Temptress, as shown here. Now, we're going to head on back and enter the final area this mini dungeon has to offer for Act 2. The Matron's Chamber. When we head on inside, we can actually catch a glimpse of Molag Bal sitting right next to the Blood Matron's coffin before he disappears. To advance the quest, we need to walk up to the coffin. Don't worry, this is supposed to happen. After you get impaled, you will wake up here in a dream from Lamae Bal, the first vampire. She will run up to you, but you need to activate her to talk to her.
What's wrong? Oh, let's move on. The sun is setting.
No dialogue option here will change anything from the story. It just gives you more information on who this person is. No matter what, we'll have to continue on the path. Here's a little known fact about this place. It actually has a world map you can look at. I really don't know why, since this place has no significance after a couple minutes, but hey, it's here. I'm going to speed this up as the path is really direct and there's only one key area I want to showcase here. Here along this tree we will find a lute and the skeleton of a nameless bard. We can't search the bard at all, but this is a nice detail once you know the whole story of Vigilant.
What's wrong? Oh, let's move on. The sun is setting.
Let's do as Lamae says and keep following the path. Here we will come across a gate. However, Lamae will be able to open it for us. After the gate opens, she does disappear. Same thing for this gate up here. Same for this one as well. Lamae will return behind us, but notice her eyes now. She's a vampire. After all, she is the first one. She also has a dagger sticking out of her chest. If we keep walking forward, we will find Molag Bal himself, standing, menacingly waiting for us. Speak to him.
We meet again, child of Stendarr. Molag Bal welcomes you. Don't you want to be with this girl forever? Her happiness is the will of Stendarr.
Molag Bal is trying to matchmake us with Lamae, and there is a reason for this, but it's something I will cover in the lore video.
Is there?
When we speak to Lamae, we will have two options. First, I'm going to showcase the bad ending of Act 2.
Come on, let's go.
If we agree to go with her, this will start the bad ending.
I'm so happy. We will always be together, forever and ever.
Speak to Molag Bal, and he will announce the two of you married, and he will give you the key to the palace behind him.
Go into the castle. Your baptism awaits.
You notice there are other people in here. If you walk up close enough to them or activate them, they will speak to you.
Drink the blood of Lamae.
Most of these NPCs are voiced by the person who voiced Altano, and it's very noticeable.
Freedom. Freedom.
Once you talk to all the NPCs you want to, walk up to the altar and activate it. You will complete the quest called the Blood Matron. You will receive the Blood of Lamae infinite active effect. You will lose karma, and, did I mention, you will arrive in Cold Harbor.
Finally woke up.
No matter which ending you take for Act 2, you will receive the Blood of Lamae active effect. All it does is give you plus 5% health regeneration. If you have the Horn of Stendarr on your character when choosing this ending, it will turn into rust and won't be able to be used anymore. In the Legacy of the Dragonborn Museum, the following display will be built if you choose this ending. Shortly after Dragonborn's confrontation with Molag Bal, Lamae Bal, the first vampire created by the very same Daedric prince, awoke deep in Windhelm underground. Dragonborn was called to solve the resulting vampire menace, and while they seem to be successful, a dark aura still hangs over Windhelm. Selecting Begone Monster will put you on the good ending
Your
path.
eyes, so cold. You are just like him, even if I have to tear you to pieces.
After she
first.
finishes talking to you, she will become hostile, the Blood Matron quest will start, and the boss fight will commence. Yes, this is the boss fight music. This might be one of the weirder boss fights in the mod, but it can be tough if you're not prepared for it, so don't underestimate it. Lamae stands still during the most of this fight. Teleporting is her only way of moving around the arena. She will cast spells at you, and when you do a good amount of damage to her, she will summon a vampire. When the vampire is summoned, you won't be able to fight Lamae until you defeat the vampire. It's basically a loop of doing this until you finally defeat her. When you finally defeat her, the quest will update and you will receive the Blood of Lamae active effect. Shortly after, you will be transported back to the Matron's chamber. The Blood of Lamae active effect is a simple active effect. All it does is give you plus 5 health regen. Her dead body will turn into a skeleton, and we can actually loot her. We need to take the Bard's Dagger off of her, and attempt to leave. Fire will emerge, and Molag Bal will rise Lamae up from the dead.
Rise, Lamae. Rise and sink your fangs into the flesh of this mortal.
Don't worry, it's not another boss fight. All you have to do is actually ignore Lamae. If you do attempt to kill her, Molag Bal will just keep rising her from the dead, so there's no reason to attack her. You can equip the Bard's Dagger, walk up to the throne up the stairs, and attack the Curse of Molag Bal with the dagger. This should immediately end Lamae, and the quest will update telling us to return to the Steward. You will also gain karma and complete the Blood Matron quest. Let's go loot Lamae's body as she actually has something else on her now. Here we have the Withered Rose of Lamae. First, I'm going to showcase the Bard's Dagger and its weapon art, then I will showcase the rose. But first, I'm going to show you how to get the Bard's Dagger if you've accidentally triggered the so-called boss fight. All you have to do is take down Lamae once, and before she gets resurrected, you will have around a 5-second time frame to loot the dagger off of her body. Now that we have the dagger, we can equip it and take out the Curse of Molag Bal. Now, let's go on and showcase the 2 unique items we just got. Also, I just wanted to mention, both of these items do have a display in the Vigilant room of the Dragonborn Museum. The Bard's Dagger has an enchant that makes the weapon do more damage against undead and Daedra. The dagger has a really cool look to it, but I couldn't find any information on what it's based off of. I looked on the Dark Souls wiki and the Bloodborne wiki, so if you guys know if this is based off anything, tell me in the comments below. When you equip the dagger, you will receive this weapon art. Too Late Blessing will cure all of your diseases for 200 magicka. As shown here, I have a disease, and I should have 200 points of magicka. When I have the weapon art equipped and I use it, all diseases should be cured. Now, the Withered Rose of Lamae isn't going to look as cool in my guy character compared to a female, but it has a really dark and raw look to it. The rose doesn't have an enchantment, and it takes up its own slot for equipping, so you won't have to take off an amulet or a ring slot just to equip this. We will also be able to use this later to create the Rose of Lamae, which we can do so at an Anvil of Zenithar. As you guys can see here from our quest journal, the only quest we have left to do is empty cells, as all of the other quests we got from this dungeon have been completed. For now, I'll show you guys the quickest way to get back to the Windhelm dungeon. I will speed this part of the video up. Now that we are back in the Windhelm dungeon, it's just a matter of returning to the Steward in the main hall of the palace and telling him that the vampire menace has been taken out. I solved your vampire problem.
Good job. I knew I gave the mission to the right person. Here's your reward. Also, your kind has to the city. I've sent some men to the temple of yours. I can always count on you, can't I? Divines watch over you.
The quests will now be completed, and for your troubles, you will be rewarded 2,000 gold. You will also start Child of Oblivion, which is the start of the Act 3 quest. We will do that in the Act 3 walkthrough. For now, I'm going to show you guys a little secret. After you complete empty cells, you can go back to the Matron's chamber to find a non-hostile vampire lord named Facis. You can learn a good amount about him, but the reason he's going to be important to us is that he acts as a merchant. He sells 4 Conjuration spell tomes and all of the rusty armors and weapon sets. The armor is basically Molag Bal's armor set, just rustified. Same with the weapons, of course. Once you complete Act 2, you can actually craft the rusty set and Molag Bal set at the Anvil of Zenithar, but I will show you guys that here in a sec. First, let me showcase the spell tomes. First, we have the Blood of Lamae. It's a strong vampire lord, however it costs a lot of magicka to summon since it's an adept spell as shown here. I'll showcase every one of these guys in action, so you guys can choose which one you think would be best. Next up, we have a Feral Vampire. This one acts as a beginning Conjuration spell, so this one may have more of a use to you compared to the Blood of Lamae. I'm not going to lie, it's a pretty weak familiar, but it sure is a starting one. Now we have the Lich Vampire. This one is my personal favorite as it represents the vanilla vampire lord and it's pretty powerful. It costs less than the Blood of Lamae to cast, which is crazy since this thing has the potential to put out good damage. And finally, we have the Vampire Brute. This guy is a tank. He has good health and he does really good damage. Also, he only costs 124 magicka, which is a huge bargain for what you get out of it. This is probably the best spell Facis will sell, so I suggest anyone getting their hands on it, Conjuration Mage or not. Here, I'm going to showcase you what you will be able to craft at the Anvil of Zenithar after you complete Act 2. Obviously, we have the Rose of Lamae. We have the Dark Witch Hat and Robes. I'm not very positive you get this after Act 2, but they didn't pop up for me after Act 1. You also unlock the Molag Ball Armor. And the Rusty Armor. You also unlock the Witch Hunter armor. We also can get all of the Molag Ball weapons, and all of the Rusty weapons. I'm pretty sure this is all of the stuff you unlocked after completing Act 2, but if I'm wrong, don't be afraid to correct me in the comments below. For the rest of the video, I'm going to show you guys a cinematic of all of the armors and undisplayable items we can obtain from Vigilant. I'm also going to be placing displayable items from Vigilant in the Dragonborn Museum. I hope you guys enjoyed the walkthrough, and I hope I was able to help. Have a great rest of your day, and as always, peace out. Shortly after Dragonborn's confrontation with Molag Ball, Lamae Ball, the first vampire created by the very same Daedric prince, awoke deep in Windhelm underground. Dragonborn was able to eradicate the resulting vampire menace and save Lamae from the curse of Molag Ball, finally granting her eternal peace.